And can you try sharing your presentation?
What's a chicken in right
Uh, you have the.
So like, how big is it? I guess.
I think that will do.
Is it? Yeah, it's working. It's
The head.
so
I'm doing the entire screen.
So
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah.
in TV shows with Thanksgiving where you see the foot.
Yeah, perfect. For me, it will show like this. For the share screen.
Are the
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
feathers?
It's more than enough. As long as the slides are visible and your audio is audible, it's fine.
Sorry. Okay.
It's all good. I'll leave the meeting and make you the. Okay, I think you should be good to go. You're unmuted right now, right?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. I'll be here still if something
Okay.
comes up.
Thank you, boy Aria. We're gonna wait a couple of minutes before we start.
Mhm.
People are getting woke up. That's what girl Aria said.
It's a huge drawing at the phone.
Yes, we want to wait a little bit. Not too much. I like your T-shirt.
Thank you. It's probably like 40 minutes, but it's
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
you have okay. Actually,
Dang.
take a picture before I can go
What are we gonna even do here in 40 minutes? Guys, let's finish it. Oh dang, that's a
It
big
goes
one.
all the way to the back. So the entire width.
That's true.
Yeah, so you might want to wait like 50, 40 minutes.
15 minutes? Whoa, we don't have that much time. We're gonna bounce. Yeah. You guys are the only ones that get to learn. Nobody else gets to learn. Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah, this stuff all the jacket.
It's cold in here. Oh yeah, you're definitely.
How's it going?
You can scan in for the attendance.
I like how chewy.
I want to get one so bad.
Correct. Yeah. No idea. I don't know. There's water for you. I can just have it in the fridge and eat it.
Thanks a lot. You actually won Pearl Hack last time, right? How are your friends doing? So this year you're participating? Uh-huh. What about Pearl Hack? Pearl Hack?
Yeah. What's Burlap?
This is another hackathon for, I think they do it just after.
Mm-hmm.
So last year I came through the foundation. We sponsored.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this year.
Congratulations.
I can see that.
Oh, wow. Fun. Four more minutes and we'll start. Now we're done. My thing is cooking, right? I'm not expecting that one.
Jessica, take one or two of mine presenting, so I send it to Infosys Topaz. Though we don't have audience. It's, I mean, every year I come here, and this year I think, I don't know, maybe it's the timing. It used to be at around 11:30 ish.
Oh, the time of your workshop? I'm sorry, we should do a better time.
No, that's fine. When if even one person sits in the class, I'm okay with it.
Jessica, sit in the class.
It's just that the person should be interested.
We'll have two people here. Yeah, but how much am I gonna
She's fed up of sitting in my class.
2 minutes and we'll start. No, but I do learn every time you do this. As the marketing person, the technical company.
You're very smart. So, how many of you are working on AI related projects for this hackathon? Okay. Anybody is doing any project for the Infosys sponsored theme? Good. Then this is going to help you.
We're gonna give them extra points, right?
Yes.
Should we take it? You got yours has stickers on it. Oh, it's behind you. Oh, that's a fish one. A nice sardine. Let's start.
Okay. Okay. Thanks everyone for being patient. Let me first of all introduce myself. You can scan this attendance. This is for your tracking of attendance from your sponsors. I'm not
We
aware
give free
of what
things.
it is.
Hackathon if you scan it.
My name is Parimala Mohan Rao, and I'm with Infosys from the past 16 years, and I'm an associate principal data science. So I'm very excited to be here. I think this is my third year in Hack and See, and wonderful crowd, great talent here, and we look forward to having you all in our Infosys office in case you join our InStep program. So great projects that were done by your seniors, I could say, who were juniors last year, right? Yeah. Many of great AI projects that they were part of in our development as well. And last year hackathon also, they came up with very cool things, right? So today's discussion or talk, I'm not going to say it's a session. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to teach you coding aspect of it, but uh-oh, what happened? Something. Yeah. But I'm going to walk you through the AI landscape, right, and where we are right now, and specifically cover one important aspect of how AI is evolving with respect to agent framework. So let it be a discussion mode, right? If you have any questions, please stop me so that I can answer. So, how many of you have heard of generative AI? Are you all using generative AI? Okay, that's great. All of you use ChatGPT? Yeah. Okay. So, this is the AI landscape. I tried to put it in a slide, right? So first was predictive ML, which is machine learning. This is like the foundation of AI. It's about teaching computers to recognize patterns and make predictions based on the data. For example, it can categorize the Gmails whether it is a spam or not. This kind of things that it would analyze, right? Or if there is a customer comment, whether it is a positive or a negative one. So this kind of categorization is what predictive ML would do, right? Then came generative AI. So that's what you've been all using, right? So it can basically generate newer content. It could be text, it could be images, okay, based on the underlying patterns. It's based on unsupervised machine learning, where predictive ML was based on supervised machine learning. So, what is supervised and unsupervised machine learning? Say, think of, I mean, this is the example that I give in my, sessions that I take, right? Imagine there is a baby or a toddler, okay, and there is a house cat. There's a cat in the home, right? The toddler is well aware of how a cat looks like, right? It has four legs, whiskers, and two ears, and so on. So now this toddler goes to the outside world and sees a completely different breed of cat. It's still able to identify that the other animal is a cat. So that's what is self-supervised learning. So it's not like the parent taught the toddler this is what a cat looks like. Since it understood the features, or the, you can think of it as the patterns, right? It is able to identify the other animal as a cat. So that's what is unsupervised learning. What is supervised learning? When the parent teaches a kid this is how a dog looks like or a cat looks like, that becomes supervised learning. So generative AI is basically based on unsupervised learning. So based on the underlying data, it can, and looking at the patterns, it can generate newer context. This is one next level up. Instead of just analyzing things, these AI systems can create new stuff. It can write stories, make pictures, or even write computer code. In fact, we just launched one of the app for SDLC. What is SDLC? Software Development Lifecycle. All we do is give a prompt, and there is an agent that we have created which can write the code. Choose a language, say Python, it writes the code in Python, or say Java, it writes the code in Java. There's a testing agent which basically writes test cases and runs against this code, right? And then we've also created one requirements agent which will gather the requirement based on the prompt. And then there is a debugger agent which debugs the code, and then there is basically a deploy agent which actually deploys the web page. And then the outcome is that a web page is ready. Right now it is a very basic web page with maybe a very simple SQLite DB, but it has some kind of interaction. So you can see where we are heading towards, right? So it is all about how effectively you can write prompts. Prompt engineering is again a very important aspect of being in as an AI engineer, right? So this is what is generative AI. And then the next phase that is coming is general purpose AI. Now, this is the cutting edge stuff that scientists are working on. The goal is to make AI that can think more like humans, right? It can remember things, long term memory. Now, supposing I have a chatbot and I'm a customer using the chatbot, I come to this chatbot and I give my information about, maybe I want a healthcare provider search, right? So I'm looking for a doctor because I have an ankle pain. So it's going to look for appointments that are available and then book an appointment for me, right? And next time I come, so it's aware of what is the doctor that I visited, what are my preferences. Even it could be even as simple as booking a restaurant for food. So maybe it keeps in the memory what kind of food that I like, right? And then helps me choose restaurants accordingly. So a lot of things that can happen. That is what is general purpose AI, right? Here it is understanding complex situations and solving all kinds of problem and just not specific tasks. That's what is general purpose AI. So this is what is the AI landscape that we are in. We are still not reached completely the general purpose AI phase, but we are going towards it. So this progression from left to right shows how AI is evolving. It started with tools that could just analyze and predict, and then it advanced to systems that can create content, and now it can think and reason as well, right? So that's where we are going towards. And that's the brief that I'm going to talk about, which is agent framework. Okay. Does this make sense? Okay. Some reason it doesn't. Okay. So what is agent framework? Again, this is something not very new. It's been over a year maybe since people are using these agent frameworks. Has anybody heard of agent frameworks? You have co-pilots. You've used co-pilots, Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, so great. Some of you have heard. So what is agent framework? I'm going to talk a brief about it. So major tech companies like OpenAI or Microsoft or Meta or Google, they're looking at agentic workflows and their potential for driving AI progress. These are kind of intelligent autonomous agents which can analyze the task and also perform the actions. It is just not about predicting, it's also about performing the necessary action using the appropriate skills. All this you need to define, and it can choose the skill and execute the task. And it could be completely autonomous. You want human in the loop? Yes. If you do not want it, you can completely make it autonomous, right? So these companies are particularly interested in this agentic workflow design patterns such as reflection, tool use, planning. So there can be a planning that could be done. There could be a planning agent that could help, create the plan for executing the task. So let's understand how is it different from the chat GPT that you've been using. So that's the reason why I'm kind of giving a comparison so that you understand how agent framework is different from using a chat GPT. You have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you could give an example of agent framework.
Yeah, yeah, I will. If you want, if there is time and if you want to stay back, I can show you the demos as well that we have created, right? So I don't know how long I could cover or how much I could cover, but I am more than happy to show you the demos that we've created, right? So if you say Chat GPT, all of you have used Chat GPT. It is a window where you go, give your prompt, and then it gives you the output, right? Have you all used it? So this is an example. Like, let me wear my glasses because the font size is too small. I still cannot see. Anyway, so the top one is the prompt that I have given, where I have mentioned that I want to travel to, I think, Canada, and I'm having a leg injury, and I want places to see. I want the itinerary to be booked, places to see, and recommend the places as well as book my tickets, kind of thing. Right now, if you give it to a typical Chat GPT, what would happen? It would give the information, and it will give useful information also, because now Chat GPT uses tools. It uses a web search. Have you used the new Chat GPT? Right? The newer versions, which are very capable, right? The key difference is that while ChatGPT provides a kind of a single generalized response based on the training. So ChatGPT is trained only up till a certain point, right? I think it is September 2021. Any incident after that, it may not have information to. Now, supposing I want to know what is the current weather, it may or may not give an accurate answer. It may hallucinate, right? So, as compared to what Chat GPT would give, how agent framework would be different is that agent framework uses, sorry, multiple specialized tools potentially to create more detailed and up to date personalized travel plan. So an agent framework would have a planner, right? This planner being a very important part of the agent framework, right? So agent is the center that interacts with these various components, right? The planner coordinates with other modules. Like, so the planner uses tools like weather. So supposing I want to go to West Canada and I want to know what is the current weather, right? Whether it is even possible to travel, supposing there's a hurricane there or something. So it will immediately give back the information that no, I don't think you should be traveling. So it has this up-to-date information which the LLMs may not have. So it can use a weather tool, right? it could do a web search, it could go and see a Google map, right? So basically it has also access to the memory. So supposing, it knows that, I have a leg injury, it has to only look for places where I could walk and not really, take a, no, I couldn't walk much. So it's going to look at only places that I could drive and not really walk much, because that's going to be the long term memory or the short term memory that it would store. So when we talk about agent framework, an agent acts like the center that interacts with various components. It has access to memory for retaining the information. It has a planner that coordinates with other modules like weather, Google Maps, and so on. So if you see the example of the itinerary, right? So what it has done, it has looked at all the requirements, like say the health that I was talking about, the injury, right? Or booking hotels that are easily accessible, that has those features, and then has gone ahead and given a complete itinerary of what I would be doing in Canada. It's not only that, you can also have the planner agent invoke appropriate APIs to go and book the hotel as well. So it's not only giving you the itinerary, but it can ask for a confirmation and go on book, as well as give you maybe choices of cost and other stuff as well. I hope you got an idea of what agent framework is, right? It's just not using LLM. It's also doing some kind of thought and reasoning, which is not available in LLM, right? And it has access to tools. It can go and use these tools, which can give very relevant, up to date information, right? So it is less hallucination as compared to using an LLM directly, right? So what is an agent? What is the motivation of these LLM? They do use LLMs. I hope you know what is an LLM. It's a large language model, right? So chat gpt uses GPT, maybe GPT-4, GPT-4o, right? So even here I would be using GPT or GPT-4o. But apart from that, the agents could also use all those tools and perform those actions, and also have planning agent which can also reason and act, right? So LLMs have impressive reasoning capabilities, but are very closed systems. We don't know how much it is trained. It's also limited to the amount it is trained, right? And fine tuning of these models are possible, but it comes with a lot of cost, and it needs a lot of skill, and you have to keep on training them, right? So if there's a need to integrate external tools or data sources with the LLM reasoning, that's where these agents come into the picture. So what is an agent? It is basically this concept originated in philosophy as an intelligent being that responds based on interactions with the environment. That means it can act based on the input that you give. It could be a tool that it could. So what you could do is you can create a skill repository. It could be Python functions that these agents are invoking using the power of LLM, right? LLM can be like a brain, and the actions or the tools can be given to this, and you can perform actions, right? So in AI, agent is basically an artificial entity that executes actions in response to the perceptions. It could be visual or it could be physical inputs, right? So that is what it is. So the critical components, I will just go ahead. LLM still exists, it is the brain, right? And then it has also a very important component, which is the memory. It can retain information. Chat GPT cannot retain your information. Next time you come, it's lost, right? But if you want the memory to be, I mean, information to be stored long term or short term, you can create something known as teachable agents, where teachable agents can store information long term. So next time the customer comes back, right? The chatbot can basically welcome back with all the information or the conversations that was done earlier. You don't have to explicitly store it in a DB now. The teachable agents of AutoGen does it. So many frameworks support many different ways of configuring memory. And then you can basically make use of external tools. So how is it different? To accomplish this, what do? These agents follow a loop of thought, action, and observation. That's how it is different from the regular way of using an LLM. Okay, first they use the LLM or the model to think about the right next action based on the current context. You take the context, maybe the prompt, and what the LLM has responded. It is going to take that context and then they formulate and execute the action, like maybe searching the web. Okay, and this produces an observation like search results, and the observations get added to the context, and there is a thought that gets generated. It's going to reason whether this is the output that is needed. So there is multiple chain of thoughts that happen before an output is coming out. So the accuracy of the output is so much like how a human would think. So that's what is an agent, right? I hope you got an idea. Any questions so far? Okay, good. So how they work? There is reflection. That means LLM examines its own work to come up with ways to improve it. It's kind of self-improvement. Tool use. So LLM is given tools such as web search, if you want to use maybe SERP API for Google search or any other tool, Tavily tool. These are all, there are free keys available. You can go and search Tavily. You can do a web search, right? Code execution or any other function to help to gather information to take action. And then planning. So LLM will come up with and execute multiple step plan to achieve this goal. And then there could be not only one single agent, but multiple agents to do it. You can create specialized agents. Now, supposing I want to create a marketing plan, okay? So what I could do, I could have a research agent that will go to the web, look for the information that I'm planning to market about, right? And then there could be, a marketing agent which would take this information further and maybe write a script or something like that. So there could be specialized agents that could be created. As I said, for the SDLC, we had a coder agent, we had a testing agent, we had a debugger agent, and then we had a deployment agent. So we've been using these agents, doing specialized tasks. Appropriate tools and skills are given to these agents, and each one of them can use different LLMs. So this is extremely important. I don't know how many of you will get this information very easily on web right now because it's evolving. But I would certainly request you to do some research. Uh, what's happening? Yeah, I need to hit this. So you need to understand how these tools work. So one is the most important part of it is planning, as I said. So the plan could use many of this. One is known as reflection. What is reflection? It's going to, whatever data comes in, it's going to do an analysis and do a self improvement. That's what is reflection, right? And then it does a chain of thought. It's just not once it goes. That loop that I was talking about, it goes in rounds till it accomplishes the task, right? And then it basically, if there is a prompt given, that goal is divided into sub goals, and each goal will be having this chain of thought so that it can be accomplished. And then there is memory. Both short term and long term memory can be configured, and you could have as many tools as possible. So you can create a repository of skills. The tools could be a rack tool, okay, or it could be an API call to another web application itself. It could be a Python function, or it could be an actually a tool that is available like a web search, right? So together there can be skills that you can define. There can be a planner, there can be memory, and there can be reason and action. So don't you think it is almost like humans thinking? If you compare it with a brain, so this is what we do. If some task is given to me, what would I do? I would basically analyze, I would plan, maybe divide it into some subtasks, and then think about how I would execute it, right? And then if I have to refine the thought, think back, then I use appropriate tools. That's what this agent is doing. Of course, LLMs are being used here, but there is a whole lot of refinement, right? And of course, human in the loop is also possible, right? Right now I'm working for a company where the data is very critical and security is important, right? So they just cannot give it to an autonomous agent. So they want human in the loop to take the final call, to do the review. So it is possible to configure human in the loop as well, whereas you're not leaving everything to AI to decide, right? So all this configuration is possible. So now coming to uh, what kind of things, scenarios where you could use these agents. Math solving. If you see, LLMs are not really capable of doing computations. If you see, if you've used it in your applications where computations are required, it may not really be accurate. So you can use tools there. So for math solving, or it could be multi-agent coding, assisting in software development processes, including user stories, coding, testing, and design. Or it could be conversational interactions. So just now we launched our chatbot. Was, I think I did mention it earlier as well, which does a healthcare provider search, wherein we are using it for customer. So a customer support executive uses this chatbot and gives the information. Say my patient has an ankle pain. Can you help with the booking of the doctor? So what I would do otherwise, I would have to go search and see the availability, do the booking and all of it, right? So now this agent will go look for all the available doctors in the network, who is available, based on three factors: cost, distance, affordability, and all of that, and then gives the options to the customer support executive, and based on the customer interaction, the response is given, and it goes and books the appointment. Now we are working on how the agents can do a call. Right now we have not reached that stage, at least the POC that I'm working. Right here, right now it goes, the API is exposed, it goes and books the appointment. Right, so that is something, and also corresponding booking of the calendar is done. A corresponding Uber booking is asked whether the patient wants. This is basically for elderly care that we are developing. So all of it associated could be added on, right? Maybe if the age is above certain age, so maybe something else, right? So you can come up with what can be added as features, right? So this is one of the use case. Then business process automation, automating corporate operational systems and so on, right? So what are the prominent agent frameworks that are available? Now this is an important part which I feel you all should explore, right? I have worked almost on all, but currently working on Autogen. So LangGraph, Autogen, Crew AI are the ones that I see in the market that all developers are using. MetaGPT is also there. There may be many more that have come up. These were the prominent ones when we did the POC, right? So this LangGraph is completely open source. So what it does here is it is basically a library for building stateful multi-actor applications. So it can create multiple agents. If you see here, this is what is an agent. It has a prompt, it has tools, it has LLM, it has memory. You can create templates and you can invoke those functions, right? And agent gets executed. So what is the most important part of it is the main use of it is adding those cycles of thought action, right? Cycles are important for agent-like behaviors when you call an LLM in a loop asking what action to take next, right? So this is what is LangGraph. You can go and research further. There are a lot of things that you can do. There are many ways that you can basically create them. I'm not going to get into the details of it. So you can have a coding assistant or a supervisor and so on, right? So this is LangGraph. This is basically Autogen. This is from Microsoft, again open source. It is done by Microsoft Research. Now the recent launch is Autogen 0.4, which is very, very, a lot of great features have come. So it offers kind of, initially 0.2 was for conversable agents. Suppose you want to create a chatbot. You have a knowledge management system where you want it to read from repository of information that you have and then have a kind of a group chat. You can do a nested group chat or a group chat kind of conversation. This is basically the agent framework that you can create multiple agents which can hand over the information from one to another in the form of a group chat. There could be a group chat manager to coordinate or orchestrate the communication and so on. So this is another agent framework. The simplest or easiest one, if you're starting with agent framework, I would suggest go for QAI. QAI, sorry, you have a question? QAI is it's a set of agents which are specialized to do certain tasks. It's a multi-agent framework that leverages collaboration and role play, right? So it can, engage in step by step discussion till it reaches a final solution. As I said, there could be a research agent, right? It could be a financial assistant, analyst agent. It could be a research agent, and they're telling which stock to invest in. So these two agents can actually communicate with each other and come up with the best possible action to take. So the agent switching is autonomously managed by the LLM. So this is again another agent framework. And the fourth one is Meta GPT. Now, in case you are trying to create a coding assistant, like a coder, .NET developer. So Meta programming framework is what is used. It's a software component that mimics human behavior and assumes certain specialized roles, like a product manager or an architect, or a developer, and you can configure and use it accordingly. So again, great for developing SDLC kind of cycles, right? So these are some of the prominent frameworks that are available. So some comparison that we did with these three most prominent ones, one is AutoGen, LandGraph, and QAI. So I'll just keep it open if you want. If you have any questions on it, please ask me. Did you get an idea? I'll pause here for questions before I go to the next slide and talk about industry use cases. Is there anything new that you learned today? Any questions? Were you aware of agent frameworks? No. Yes, no?
So, if you were interested in taking advantage of them, like, because you're saying they're open source, where would you go to access them?
You can go and
You can just Google it?
Google, yeah, on the internet, look for these libraries. So they all support Python. Supposing you want to do Crew AI, right? So just go and search for the library and do a pip install, and you can install that library and start using it. So in Crew AI, what you need to do, as I said, you need to configure the LLM. You can tell the tools that you want to invoke. That's it. You're ready. Yeah.
Since these are open source, are there compared to non-open source frameworks out there? Do they offer all? Do they not have any limitations compared to the ones that are not open source?
Okay, so all these right now are open source. The ones that are closed source are the ones that may be customized for a particular persona. Like supposing there is something known as Emily. If you go Google, that's closed. It's by a company, right? So in Emily, they have personas like I want a customer support agent. So all you can do is just give in the data and start using that. So there's not much of customization you could do because it is closed, and it of course delivers what it can deliver, but you don't have much control on it because these are evolving. It's not really there yet, right? So there have been these features are getting added. So right now the prominent ones that are being used are open source. Microsoft supports AutoGen, so many companies go for AutoGen as well. So all these are equally good. Yeah. And these are some of the industry use cases. It could be used for customer support, programming and code generation, creating personal assistants, marketing and customer insights, social media, HR, legal and compliance assistance, language translation and localization. So there are so many use cases where this could be implemented. Right? So this is one of the examples that I can just brief you on. This is basically the SDLC use case that we are developing. we have developed and launched right now, where you could see there is an agent library. Now, supposing I want a .NET developer, I'm not looking at an actual developer right now, but I'm looking at the .NET developer agent. I use this. This developer can do all of these: analysis, knowledge extraction, design, code generation, functional validation, non-functional validation, deployment. Right? And internally, it has multiple agents that can do it. Right? So it could do all these activities. So what we've done is we keep on adding the agent library. These agents can do planning, tool selection, reflection, LLM, memory. I could use any of these foundation models, right? Supposing I know that for coding, I think maybe Gemini is better, so I would use for that. Maybe for requirements, user story writing, I may use maybe GPT. So I can keep changing based on what it is needed, and each agent can be configured with a different LLM, right? So I hope you got an idea of what agent framework is. Any questions, I'll be happy to take. Thank you for your time. So any questions? Do you want to see more?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can show you a running demo. I have to connect to my network. So maybe I'll stop the recording. Is that okay? Where is it?
Just leave the meeting.
Oh, okay.